Today on Fresno State Focus, Fresno State receives over $500,000 to study infant health.
Also, people living near the airport are receiving help to combat the noise.
Plus, many Fresno State students are going hungry. All that and more on Fresno State Focus. And welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Josie Reyes.
And I'm Marina Minas.
Recently, the California Endowment, a private health foundation, gave Fresno State a 3-year grant to help fund the Central California Children's Institute. Tia Vance tells us how this is going to help support clinical training in infant mental health.
A grant for over $500,000 was awarded to the Central California Children's Institute to help fund an assignment for training and recruiting. The institution plans to help train in the area of mental health directed in children. Dr. Cassandra Jobert, director of the institution, tells us more about the grant received for the mission.
So this is our second grant to conduct training for practitioners who work with children birth to 5 years old in the practice of infant family mental health.
The institution works closely with the Autism Center of Fresno State. Student workers even gain the practice of working close with children diagnosed with some kind of mental disability. For student Dominique Prince, she came to love her job as a behavioral interventionist and the children she works with daily.
When I started working there, I got to know the kids and I really started to love them as my own. And it just really helped me develop patience and understanding for kids who have developmental issues.
It's been shown that children who develop behavioral problems early in their childhood require early attention to reduce the potential long-term impacts on a child's mental health. With this new project and the technology with it, we now know there are neural pathways that develop during early interaction.
The institution also collaborates with the Kremen School of Education and Human Development, meaning faculty of the Kremen Department follows the same mission as the Children's Institute. Special ed teacher Jennifer Andrade tells us why she thinks helping families in this situation is important.
Families are in crisis and have needs at times, so anything that we can do to help parents and children, I think, is valuable.
Jobert hopes the grant and project will serve as a catalyst to increase awareness of infant health in the region. Because of the grant, funding for the Children's Institution was covered and work is said to start in the near future. Tia Vance, Fresno State Focus.
Nearly 1 out of 4 people in Fresno County suffers from food insecurity. That is more than the national average. Fresno ranks number 5 out of the top 10 hungriest cities in the U.S. Angela Sasaki tells us that many of those who are going without food are Fresno State students.
Good morning. College is expensive, and not being able to afford to eat has become a social norm that students deal with every day. It also causes social stigmas, which is why this student asked us to protect her identity. Sophia says she has gone hungry many times trying to make ends meet.
When I was on campus, sometimes I would go hungry, and then because I wasted all my financial aid, like in rent, bills, and everything. And then I live by the airport, so it was really hard. So I had to save money for the bus. Sometimes I didn't eat.
But students and faculty members are trying to change this with the help of the Fresno State Food Recovery Network. The organization collects surplus foods and takes it to churches and other organizations to give to the community. Fresno State student and vice president of the program, Ebony Sanders, says the organization is there for everyone, but one of their main goals is to help students.
And 1 in 3 Fresno State students are food insecure, meaning that at some point in their time here, they have gone without a meal or haven't had access to nutritious foods. So that is very impactful. That is something that we are trying to attack.
The Food Recovery Network started on campus about a year ago, and since then has already recovered about 45,000 pounds of food in Fresno. Actually, 30,000 pounds of that was recovered right here in the university's dining hall.
Fresno State student Mirka Mortensen is the marketing and advertising coordinator for the program and says her passion to help others stems from her own personal struggles with food insecurity growing up.
I had to mostly forage food for myself when I was young, so being able to help other children not have to struggle so hard like I had to is really important to me.
But the Fresno State Food Recovery Network is not the only organization working to end student hunger. Project Coordinator of Student Affairs Jessica Medina says the university plans to launch a new program to target food insecurity.
So we have a 7-initiative program that we're starting. Different initiatives, anything from we are going to be open a Fresno State student cupboard, a food and hygiene pantry for students to be able to come to.
The program will also offer $5 gift bucks and $1 menu items that can be used at the Pause and Go Market on campus. Medina says she hopes the project will help students like Sophia so that no one at Fresno State ever goes hungry. Angela Sasaki, Fresno State Focus.
During this time of year is usually when the temperatures change drastically and contagious diseases rise. Kathleen Rindall, the assistant professor of the School of Nursing, is here today to talk about the importance of one's health and how to care for yourself in case you were to catch a contagious disease. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So first of all, can you tell us about some of the contagious diseases that are prominent in the Central Valley?
In the Central Valley, the biggest one that is common to everybody is the flu. But we also have tuberculosis and hepatitis C. But the flu is the easiest one for people to catch.
Okay, and then can you tell me some of the symptoms that come with that?
With the flu, you have like cold, light symptoms. However, you get the high fever, general body aches. Some of the children will get some nausea, vomiting, cough, heavy cough, productive cough, which means phlegm coming out. But mostly it's really high fever, which means anything greater than 101. Okay. Because the normal temperature is 98.6.
Okay, and then what do you do to recommend for, in case they do catch something, what can people do?
What can people do to prevent catching something?
When they already have it.
Oh, when they already have it. If they think they have the flu, then they really need to go to their doctor or into urgent care clinic, because the flu is a virus and there's some antiviral medications that can be prescribed to decrease the symptoms of flu and prevent some really complications like pneumonia and death also for the flu. So you can go antiviral. That's basically it. So if you think you have the flu, go in and get tested.
Okay, and then for people that may think they have something but they're not sure, would it be the same thing?
And when in doubt, rule it out.
Okay, awesome, definitely. And then I've noticed that kids during this time of year especially, that they're always constantly runny nose, getting sick. What do you recommend to parents that?
Hand washing, hand washing, hand washing. Kids don't realize that when they touch their nose or they touch their face or they cough on something, they put their hand in front of the mouth and they cough, they touch something else, they've spread the virus all over the place. Hand washing.
Do you recommend anything that is a prominent thing to anybody in the world that could use it?
Hygiene, hand washing and hygiene. And then if you do cough, cough in your elbow, or if you have a tissue, cough in a tissue. And then if you do have something, stay home. Don't go to school.
Okay. And I've noticed that even they have the little masks that they give out. Do you recommend, if people want to go out, do you recommend they use that?
Those masks are only good for a very short period of time, because once the moisture gets into the mask, it breaks the barrier. So they're only good for maybe 5-10 minutes. And I see people wear them all the time, and I just kind of giggle because they only last for a little while.
Okay. And then also any recommendations to the general public?
Get your flu shot.
Definitely.
Definitely get your flu shot.
Definitely makes sense. So thank you so much for stopping by today. We've been talking with Kathleen Rindall. And then also about the flu shot, there is actually a clinic that's held on campus. It's actually today. It's in the vintage behind Taco Bell, and then it runs from 10 to 2, and it's free to students. It'll be held on November 6th as well again.
Fresno State's English professor Stephen Church was recently named the James and Coke Hollowell Professor of Creative Writing. Church is the author of many memoirs and essays. He is also the founding and nonfiction editor for Fresno State's national literary magazine, The Normal School. The recognition given by the Hollowells was an effort to lure in talented faculty for the Masters of Fine Arts program. The creative writing professor says he's honored by the recognition.
That brings attention to Fresno State. It brings attention to our writing program, to the College of Arts and Humanities. So I think that's great,
Church says that he's working on his 5th book of nonfiction due to be released in 2015. More of the professor's work can be found on his personal website.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, a program that helps future military leaders experience other cultures. Plus, see how the Fresno State Greek system is giving back. All that when we return.
So you decided to go to Fresno State. Good for you. But you were too insecure to show Fresno State pride? That's a problem. Because you never bothered to show pride in your school, you are shunned by other students. Professors can smell the stench of impending failure on you and take no pity. Even the mass communication students agree you have no future. But all of this could have been avoided if you simply showed your pride for Fresno State.
I am Fresno State.
Fresno State pride. Show it or face the consequences.
Airplane noise can sound extravagant and exciting for passersby, but if you happen to live near the airport, the constant noise is something that you must learn to get used to. Whether it's a commercial aircraft or fighter jet, the noise they make when they are near the airport is unavoidable. Over the years, the Sound Mitigation Acoustical Remedy Treatment, or SMART program, has risen to help those who live near the Fresno Yosemite International Airport. The SMART program is funded by the Federal Aviation Administration and Measure C. The requirements start with the home being under the exposure map levels. Currently, the map says that for the homes to qualify, the noise level must exceed 65 CNEL, or Community Noise Equivalency Level. The homeowner must then submit an application, and an assessment of the home follows, making sure the home meets city building code. Once the home is assessed, the improvements begin. All this does take time, so it's better to start the program sooner than later. Airport Planning Manager for the City of Fresno, Mark Davis, says it improves the home's value and the homeowner's lifestyle.
Basically, what the program involves is providing acoustically rated windows, doors, insulation in the attic to help create an envelope inside the house that is quieter than the outside environment.
Around 1,200 homes have been done since the 80s when the program was started. The exposure map is currently being assessed again. Some homes that may have qualified before may not anymore. Homeowner Dan Gontroff says that some improvements done by the program include sound detonators on the roof, heavy solid insulated doors, new thresholds, and quad pane windows, which have made all the difference in the world.
We were in the 70 plus, 74, 73 plus decibels sound level at times with the Air National Guard jets flying over. My children, when they were small here, it actually was very scary for them at times when the jets would fly over. And so we knew that we were in that sound level.
Associate Regional Planner for the Fresno Council of Governments, Laurel Fosses, says that it's not the commercial flights that increase the noise. Rather, it's the fighter jets from the local Air Force Base.
Actually doesn't sustain itself at that noise level, that high noise level, for very long, really a few seconds. But if you're on the phone or you're, trying to have a conversation or take a nap, it would bother you as a resident.
Davis also says that if repairs are needed within the first year, the program fixes them. After that, the homeowner is responsible to contact the manufacturer and work with the warranty. Also, Fawcett mentions that the Fresno Airport Lands Commission meets every other month, and the public is welcome to express their opinions and concerns. Go to fresnocog.org for more details.
On Saturday, Kappa Alpha Theta held a dodgeball tournament. This tournament raised money for an organization called CASA, which stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocates. CASA helps children that are victims of abuse or neglect find great foster homes. Kappa Alpha Thetas all around the world donate to this cause. It is a national charity that the sorority is dedicated to. Senior member Gina Gittins explains more on CASA.
CASA is court-appointed special advocates, and what we do as Kappa Alpha Theta members, we raise money for the volunteers that take the children through the court system.
Already raised money for the event by inviting each fraternity to the dodgeball event. The fraternities had to pay a fee to come participate, and during the event they could buy shirts to also help donate money to CASA. We just watched the Kappa Alpha Theta's dodgeball event, and here today is Delta Gamma sorority member Gianna Papagni to tell us more about philanthropies. Thank you for joining us today, Gianna.
Thank you for having me.
So I know that you guys had your philanthropy earlier in October, correct?
Yes, we had it October 10th through the 12th.
Okay, so it's a 3-day event.
Yes.
And what happens?
So on Friday, we had what's called Most Beautiful Eyes, and we table in the free speech area, and basically we just have buckets with each fraternity member, and they pick one guy to expose their eyes, I guess you could say, and it's put on the bucket, and then it's a penny wars. So pennies are positive points as well as dollars, then anything else is negative. So you have all the fraternities and other teams putting positive and negatives inside of each other's buckets, trying to guess whose eyes are who. And then on the second day, we have what's called Dogs with DG, and we have a all-you-can-eat barbecue type thing where our families, alum, other fraternity members, other Fresno State members come, and that's where we raise most of our money, just because it's $5 and limited hot dogs and all-you-can-eat. And then Sunday is the actual events where we went to Clovis North High School, and we had the swimming events and synchronized swimming events, and then afterwards at our home we have a pageant where certain fraternity members compete as well as our own girls.
And that's where you get the name Anchor Splash.
Yes, Anchor Splash is a national event, and it's by every Delta Gamma has some sort of anchor splash, whether that's on land or not, in the water. It supports our foundation Service for Sight, which is aids the blind and visually impaired, as well as joining forces, which helps our troops and veterans.
Okay, so it benefits the troops, and then it benefits, what's it called, Service for Sight? Service for Sight.
Aiding the blind and visually impaired.
Okay, and then, yeah, because I tried looking it up on YouTube, and I thought Fresno State would pop up, but it's all over, everyone does Anchor Splash.
Yeah, it's a huge Anchor Splash, Anchor Games, Anchor Slam, which we do in the spring. But Anchor Games is usually what's held if Anchor Splash is not without a pool.
How much do you raise?
This year we did over $9,000 in just one semester. So that's like the highest that we've ever done. So for a small Greek community, that's huge.
And Anchor Slam is in the spring, and you do?
It's just a basketball tournament.
Okay.
So it's single elimination, fraternity members and other Fresno State members treated like the NBA. It's super fun.
All right. Thank you for joining us today, and good luck with your spring philanthropy.
Thank you.
Many students look forward to summer to take break from classes, homework, and tests. John Dix brings us a program that allows future military leaders to travel overseas and learn other cultures and languages.
All right, buddy. We are switching the structure of the battalion.
First platoon.
The Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC, is a program on many college campuses that allows students to get an education while training to become military officers. While attending classes, they also learn what it means to become leaders. Now there's a program to help those cadets become more aware of the world around them. Project Global Officer gives ROTC cadets the opportunity to travel overseas during the summer and learn the local language by immersing themselves into the culture. This experience helps shape the officer the cadet will become.
This is one opportunity to start developing a more complex officer who is comfortable in chaos and is not threatened by diversity or cultures that might be different than theirs. Instead, they're welcoming to those realities, and they can excel in those realities.
Ryan Carter has already had the opportunity to travel to the Middle East the last 2 summers. He says that Project Go is more than just learning a language. It helped him to learn how to learn.
Finding a taxi, or giving directions, or asking what's on the menu, greeting somebody, saying hello to somebody, saying goodbye to somebody. It's stuff that you do every day. That's the kind of stuff that you learn. And that's what I found out, that's how I learned, by just, actually throwing yourself into the uncomfortable zone.
When Cadet Carter was done hitting the books, he explored the country that was around him. This kind of exposure helps cadets see the world in a different way.
If you're always exposed to the same things, you get locked in certain mindsets. So going abroad, absorbing those new experiences, those cultures, those languages, opens your mind to more broader ideas and broader approaches to certain situations.
No matter what the situation, Project Go will help our future leaders understand how to see things through the eyes of other cultures. John Dix, Fresno State Focus.
Coming up in sports, we'll see how some Fresno State athletics are serving the community. Stay tuned for sports with Kylie Shea Aldridge.
I am Fresno State, and I'm going to show you why. Here's the beautiful and newly constructed Henry Madden Library, which has a massive collection. The Save Mart Center, which is our sports venue and one of the best attended in the entire country. We're absolute pioneers in the agricultural sciences, having led to the production of the first university winery and drawing in a diversity of students to achieve academic success over the past 100 years. And I wish I had time to tell you about everything else, but in reality, I think you're just going to have to come see for yourself.
I am and always will be.
While our athletics program has received a lot of praise over the years for their achievements in their sport, they have been accomplishing other things off the court and field. Athletes work to perfect their sport. What you do not see is how much they give back to the community that supports them.
We have done events with the Palvarillo House, with Saturday Sports, which allows us to go out on a Saturday afternoon with a bunch of different kids and just go out in the community and play games with them for a couple hours.
Our athletic department has won the Mountain West Community Service Award for the last 2 years, which is how long they have been in the conference. They are very confident about snagging a third award over all the other teams.
It's a big goal of our student athletes here at Fresno State, as well as me for being the advisor of SAC. I think it just speaks to the type of character student athletes we have here at Fresno State.
The student athletes have some help in organizing the community service events that they partake in. The academic staff in the athletic department helps in any way they can.
So Big Heroes, Little Heroes is really awesome because we get to interact with children in the hospital. We also take them to different events like volleyball games. We actually went bowling with them about 2 weeks ago. So it's a great experience for us athletes to have younger children look up to us.
So when you see your Bulldog athletes out at practice or playing in a game, remember that they are more than just a bunch of jocks. They are a bunch of jocks who like to reach out to their community and help those in need. There are over 50 student athletes that make up the men's and women's track and field team. They are starting to raise concern about how their sports funding is being handled, and as you can see, it is for good reason.
Sucks not even being able to practice 5 days a week on our track. We only get to practice like 2 or 3 days because it's that bad for our shins and our ankles and our knees.
The track and field team currently holds their meets at local Buchanan High School because of their school's field condition. It is hard to get student support at their meets when the competition takes place off campus. Keon Bland is a Fresno State track and field member. He is here today to discuss his experience and the team's upcoming fundraiser. Thanks for being here with us, Keon.
Welcome.
So tell me what it's like being a track and field member here at Fresno State.
It's fun, it's stressful, it's good, it's bad. It's not bad. It's just stressful, I should say. We work hard, we do what we're supposed to do, always, you know. We're the second largest team here at Fresno State, and just a lot goes on, but we work through it, and we always do what we have to do, competition-wise, practice-wise, you know. We always get it done.
All right, so tell me a little bit about your track. I've heard that there's a lot of safety concerns with your conditions.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's puddles on the track, there's muddy pits, slippery thrower rings. After it rains, it's really hard to work at it when it rains. Like we make accommodations for it. There's days where we don't even practice on the track, we practice on the grass across the street, just because we have to worry about our shins and everything just to keep us healthy. There's a lot that goes into like how safe it is for us to be there. We always manage through it. Like we always get it done. We practice, whatever, get there, and get it out of the way.
So you personally, have you had any injuries because of the track, or have you had any ankle shin problems?
Not this year. My freshman year, first getting onto the track, practicing on it, my shins, it was bad on the shin. It hurts, and you sit in rehab trying to ice, but you're back out there every day or throughout the weeks, but it's hard to get better.
Okay, and how hard is it to gain a fan base and gain support when you have to have your track meets at another high school rather than at your own field?
I mean, first of all, it's just embarrassing because we want to be big like football, basketball, and some of the other sports, but when we hold competitions that's off campus, which is supposed to be a home competition, I mean, it's hard to just attract people who want to support us just because, I mean, it may not always be advertised, promoted, but nonetheless, it's not a home competition because it's not on Fresno State's campus. It's at Buchanan High School. I mean, they have a great facility, but I think we should have a great facility too, being a Division I program. We want to be able to show that we have something to offer like some of our rivals and competitors in the Mountain West Conference.
All right, and you have a Red Wave 5K run that you're doing for a fundraiser, right? Is that going to be this Saturday? What time?
It's actually this Sunday, November 9th, after the football game against San Jose State. It's just a fundraiser put on by Sierra Running Company in hopes to promote and fundraise for a new track so we can, help us out and have a better Fresno State track team.
All right, there you go, Keon Bland, and there's going to be a Red Wave 5K run on Sunday at 7:15 a.m., 1600 Bulldog Lane. Thank you for stopping by, Keon.
You're welcome.
Nonprofit organizations are important in the Valley, especially our very own Cat Haven, which is a large cat sanctuary located in Dunlap. Dana Lipkin goes beyond the gates to find out what's new with the exhibit.
Lions and tigers and bobcats, oh my, where can you see these amazing creatures? Nestled in the foothills 45 miles west of Fresno rests a 100-acre plantation which housed some of the rarest cats in the world. In 1993, Dale Anderson opened the doors to his nonprofit organization, Cat Haven, co-naming it Project Survival. And for the past 21 years, he's been rescuing all different types of cats. With many new projects in process, Cat Haven is focusing on Jaguar Jungle, which will add 3 enclosures for Jaguar sisters Rose and Samba, and also a newcomer that will be arriving from Brazil. Now it's 2014, and Cat Haven has broken ground on a new enclosure. But how much does one of these enclosures cost? Well, it is estimated that it is $17,000. According to Dale Anderson, this is why donations are crucial.
Most of it comes from people that come in to see the cats. Most of it's through admission. We do donations, we look for grants, we do fundraiser events, pretty much everything a nonprofit does to be able to raise money. But I think the difference is, since we're open to the public, we do have a lot of people that come through and pay admission to come see us that way too.
Not only is funding extremely important for a cat sanctuary of this size, but the volunteers and interns are even more important. Intern Suzanne Moss explains why the new enclosure is crucial.
New jaguars that really need an enclosure, because right now Pintada is time switching with Murado, and we would like to give the enclosure back to Murado himself. And then Pintada could have an enclosure for herself also.
However, funding doesn't just come from donations. Cat Haven is open to the public throughout different times of the year. They get to go on tours, and once the tour is over, the gift shop is where many people go into. The newest member to Cat Haven will be arriving from Brazil.
Yes, there's a new jaguar that we're bringing in from Brazil. It's a rescue situation. From what we know about her, she was someplace where she had poor nutrition as a cub and has some health issues. The current zoo that has her is trying to bring her up to a healthy standard, but doesn't have room to keep her.
Cat Haven is known all throughout California. Anderson has taken his cats on shows like The Tonight Show and Jimmy Fallon. To donate to the exhibit and help the cats get the home of their wildest dreams, go to www.cathaven.com/donations. Dana Lipkin, Fresno State Focus.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, we'll meet a woman who is helping the homeless have a better holiday.
Plus, we'll find out about the Discovery Program.
Also, we'll visit the ice rink. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. A special edition coming up in Spanish.